Hello and welcome to a very windy Gibraltar, but we made it.
We did. It's always an iconic trip coming through the Strait of Gibraltar and then seeing the rock, which at the moment is shrouded in cloud. It's been an interesting couple of weeks.
It has, and we look forward to going up the rock at some point. I hope you like the film. Coming up, 3 generations on board, training the sailors of the future. Mixed wind and confused seas. What's going on out there? And sailing through Orca Alley, we have a very narrow weather window. We begin in Portimao, where we've been held up by bad weather for almost a month. We're joined by our grandson Isaac, who's on half term, and by some miracle the sun has come out and we can finally put the sails up. Our daughter Emily pulls out the Yankee, and it looks like all hands will be on deck. Do you want to have a go, Jonah?
Just grumpy.
Hey, where are we?
Heading towards Faro at last.
Yes, it. Go on.
Yeah.
When it goes too tough, then go back to the first direction.
Right, you're doing really well. Just round and round. It's going to be quite a long time. Get it pulled in. We think a couple of hours at sea will be enough for the first day, so rather than head all the way, we anchor in Albufeira and go ashore.
So looking out for Delta 6.
D6.
D6.
Wait, so where's number?
It's going to be near the end there, isn't it?
The marina office allocates the dinghy dock here, and then we are all up for a walk. Yeah, they're nice. On the way back, we hit the beach. The sea is too cold for most people for swimming, but the boys are making the most of their holiday. Then back to the boat for a sunset. And for 2 of us, the first ever night at anchor.
One day we might sail in the night. Yeah, maybe one day.
Oh, to be young. Next morning we set off again. This time we're heading for the Faro Lagoon and the beautiful nature reserve. We will give the very shallow water outside the mouth of the river a wide berth and then turn right to Gibraltar. Since our last visit 2 years ago, someone has sunk a field of mooring buoys. Fortunately, we can still anchor just outside. We come into the narrow entrance just at the end of the flood tide. Gibraltar is a beautiful fishing village with many more boats than we remember from 2 years ago. But the island is still largely unspoilt. The kilometre-long walkway across the dunes leads us to a sandy beach. stretching the length of the eastern side. It's not long before the boys are back in the water. On the other side of the lagoon lies the historic town of Faro. Time for some sightseeing.
Te quiero decir, te elijo a ti, si me dan a elegir, te elijo a ti, para poder vivir, te elijo a ti, es lo que me hace sentir, te elijo a ti.
But when you're 6, the attractions of historic buildings come second to scrumping the oranges. Or maybe this is just a family thing.
Can't reach them.
Lo que siento es tan fuerte, imposible no elegirte. Ahora que estás aquí, para poder existir, te elijo.
Most importantly, the weather held, and on the way back to the boat, we are blessed with another fantastic sunset.
Te elijo a ti, te elijo a ti.
One of the best things about returning to the Med is learning about the history and the culture, and we can more easily see family and friends. Well, with that in mind, I'd like to thank the sponsor for this video, Hungry Minds. The ultimate guide to rebuilding civilization is a beautifully illustrated encyclopaedia which shows how our world has developed. Our grandson Isaac went straight to the page about sailing and started on the page showing navigation.
Compass.
And what's at the top of a compass?
North.
Exactly. We also had a quick look at glass blowing in preparation for our return trip to Murano in Venice. What's he doing here?
He's blowing that.
Yeah. And what's he doing there?
Blowing everything.
Blowing everything, isn't he?
Playing everything at the same time.
That's right. There really is something for all ages in the book. We're going to keep this book on board, but it would make a great gift. So if you want to buy one for family or friends, just follow the link in the description. With the holiday over and the family on the flight home, we make an early start.
So it's obviously the place to be for early morning fishing. At the top of the high tide, it's just about to turn. I imagine that's just where the fish gather. But it's a bit chilly.
It is, but now the sun's come up, I think we'll have a bit of warmth today. We've been really lucky. The last couple of days have been just fantastic. Been really nice. So I'm looking forward to going to Cadiz. If we get that far, we'll see how far we get.
Yeah, we don't know what the wind's going to do, so we've got a plan A to get to Cadiz if there's wind. But if there's not, then we're going to stop halfway. There's a little place that we can stop halfway down.
Ultimately, we are now on our way to Gibraltar, and the weather is not being kind. There is wind, but it's unsettled, and also a lot of unexpected swell. So this is going to be a bumpy ride.
Well, as you can see, it's a very nice sunny day, but there is a very cold wind. Even sitting in the doghouse here, I've got the Henry Lloyd puffer on to try and warm up. I mean, hopefully, as the sun goes up a bit more, it'll get a bit better. We're crossing the Gulf of Cadiz at the moment. I'll put up where we are on the iPad, and you can see this is prime orca territory. We're having to go quite a long way offshore. It's just the way the wind is at the moment, but we're not particularly worried about that. I mean, people ask us lots of times, what we're going to do with orcas, and people try and hug the shore is sort of the way that they would try and do this. Well, to be honest, we're just not that worried about it. If you'd seen the construction of the boat when we were doing the rudder in the last episodes, it's a keel hung rudder. And really, what they're doing, these orcas, is they're coming along and they're just giving the rudder a bit of a barge. And if you've got a spade rudder with all that leverage on it, and they're not that strong, they either break it off or rip it out. With ours, they're very unlikely to be able to just get the rudder without getting the keel as well. So they're just pushing the boat, and even a fully grown orca's between 3 and 6 ton, and we're 26 ton. So and we're hard and they're soft. So I think they would have to ram us in a way that would properly hurt them to do any damage, and I just don't believe they're doing that. I think they're just playing. We're not particularly worried. Having said that, we do have some thought about it, and have some plans about what we would do. I've got some bleach that I would put in the heads, and then just put that down in the black water tank and just pump out any time anyone came, so they have a mixture of black water and bleach. I don't think they'd like swimming in that, to be honest. People use sand off the back. We haven't done that. We haven't collected sand, but you could. It upsets their sonar if it's falling off the back and they can't see where they're going. They don't like it, apparently. And we do, as a very last resort, have a firecracker that someone gave us years ago that's in the locker back there. It's illegal to use them, but if one was sinking your boat, that's what you'd do, obviously. I really don't think that would happen at all. We're just going to go along. I'd quite like to see them in the distance, not too close. We'll see. But I'm going to have to tack round in a minute, because you see from the course we're making, we're being headed off from Cadiz, where we want to go. So we will now, I think, just tack round and either wait for a bit of a wind change or maybe overnight somewhere on the shore halfway down. We'll see. We'll see how we go.
We're reluctant to stop sailing when we're moving unusually fast, but in the end we have to face facts. An hour later and the decision is made. With the wind dropping and heading us off, and the swell bombarding us from the southwest, we look for somewhere to anchor for the night. The best bet looks to be Mazagon.
It's an industrial area which should give some protection from the southwest swell, and it looks like there's space outside the shipping lane next to a marina entrance.
But it hasn't been a bad sail in the end, though the wind did come straight out of Cadiz in the end, so we've turned and we're going to spend the night in a river entrance just up here. It should be okay. There's a tanker pretty close there, but don't worry about it, it is anchored. There's a lot of activity here. I think it's a pipeline that comes out with an offshore jetty where they pipe stuff aboard. So yeah, just getting ready. Going to take the fishing line in. You'll see we're down to run one rod. I did lose my rod out of here. I'm not really sure how. I think we caught a big fish, and I think somehow it just wasn't quite locked off properly, and the whole lot went overboard, which is a bit of a shame. But at least it was my little cheap rod, and my really nice rod that we got from John is here. So that's always tied on. I always make sure that it's completely safe. But yeah, I've got to get something else on there, because I think it's good to fish with more than one lure out. I think the more stuff you've got out there, the more chance you've got of attracting the big fish up. And I know there's a company that does these sort of clamp-on reels, so it's not a rod, it's just a reel that goes on the transom there. So I might try one of those. It looks really good. Yeah, let's get this in now before the sun goes down. Hopefully we'll get in before it's properly dark.
As the sun goes down, the wind drops to almost nothing and we end up motoring. Whatever happened to the wonderful sunshine of just a few days ago?
So we are now motor sailing through a lot of anchored boats that are in the river entrance here. It's going to get dark before we get down there, but hopefully not pitch black, and we'll have a bit of light to just negotiate the first bit of the river entrance. And I think there's a few fishing boats there as well, so it'd be good to get there before dark's while we're just motor sailing. We were doing about 4 knots, now we're doing 7, which is great. That's partly down to the new prop, and there will be, you must catch this in about a week's time, it's out on Patreon now, a big special on props, prop 101, which goes through the whole changeover for us into the Brunson's Auto Prop, and this is one of the things it's really good at, doing the motor sailing really efficiently, so good test for it.
We start up next morning with a motor out of the river, and yes, this is the answer to the quiz question. Just watch, the odd thing is what happens when we switch to reverse. It's not the prop, that's doing exactly what it's designed to do, flipping round and giving as much drive backwards as it does in forward. So watch the prop shaft. See it? It's probably clearer when I filmed it from the other side. Watch the anode on the prop shaft. It was done up tight, but obviously wasn't clamping down sufficiently, so I'll have to take it off, file down the ends of the semicircle a smidge so that it clamps tight and doesn't move around.
Well, it's a nice sunny morning to leave. It's always strange when you get to sea somewhere for the first time in the morning when you come in at night. Not quite what you expect. It's actually quite pretty. I thought it was going to be quite industrial. But yeah, there's a lot of ships coming in and out of here, so we're staying just outside the ship channel. Oh, now yes, it's just going off. But yeah, hopefully we get a bit of wind later. It's not much now.
Our plan is to make our way down the coast to Cadiz today and then on to Barbate tomorrow, putting us in place for the one weather window we have to get through the strait to Gibraltar. If we miss that, it's another week at least before we can get through. And all the time, the swell is getting worse.
Probably won't show up too well on here, but it's a really disturbed water over a bank here. It should be about 6 meters underneath us. We were going to go straight over it, but I mean, if you look at the chart, there's gaps in it. It's definitely right, but I don't like the look of it at all, so we're going to go around it.
Yeah, let's go round. I think you could actually surf through on this. Whoa.
Tide is running through here quite fast. I think that's what's causing this. It's rising tide. But wow.
Those are some big waves.
I was not expecting that.
We were well over a mile off the headland here, so the tidal currents and upwellings are a big surprise, and it makes us even more mindful of what's to come. The tides through the strait have to be considered. It's almost entirely east flowing due to water evaporation from the Med, and runs fast on the flood tide. This means there is a severe wind against tide situation at the moment, with gale-forced easterlies confined to the area of the strait. So it's really important for us to make the only forecast opportunity to get through with anything approaching decent conditions. This comes on Saturday according to all the forecasts, before returning the next day and continuing for the foreseeable future. So we're on a bit of a mission.
Well, we're dashing our way through a very unexpected, choppy, horrible sea. It's not supposed to be any wind at all at the moment. There hasn't really been that much wind for the last few days, but there's been just a horrible swell. Absolutely no idea where it's come from. We tried on the way down to go into Cadiz, the bay. We actually go into Rota at the top, and there's no way we were going to do that, was it? It was
No,
ridiculous.
No, wrong side of the bay.
So we went to the other side of the bay, actually in Cadiz, and in a little bay within a bay. This is this big breakwater, still a load of swell last night. Now, what have we just tried? We
just tried to get into
Barbate.
But that was weird because not only was it really swelly, but really shallow.
Yeah.
And we had less than a metre underneath us, and it should have been 6.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's been going on there. But
well,
anyway,
the storms for the last month, I think, have just moved stuff around. There was a headland as well that was quite hairy. I think it was much more shallow than it was supposed to be.
Exactly.
So what's our options now then?
Well,
I mean,
now
we're thinking here, but look, I mean, there's no chance. There's like 2 metre rollers and massive. There's no way. There's no shelter. That's the problem. And this bit of coast. Is there anywhere on the way down?
Yeah. Well, no. We'd have to go right down to here.
Tarifa.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you can't really anchor that side.
You're not supposed to anchor, no, on the east
Maybe
side.
on an emergency, someone clearly has, according to this. But we could have a look at this side, see if that helps us a little bit with the swell coming up.
Possibly. I think it'd be dark by the time we got there. I mean, we
Yeah.
may as well continue through in the dark. The tide is
Really?
good for us.
What, go through the swell
Yeah.
in the dark?
Yeah. Not ideal, but if we can't anchor, there's not a lot of option, is there? We'll get there early hours of the morning.
Lovely. This is so not what I intended. Okay.
With Barbat out of the question, we kept a lookout and found this spot about an hour south. It had some protection from the wind chop and was deep enough that the ocean swell hopefully wouldn't bother us too much.
Okay, well, we didn't like the prospect of going through the straits at night. Tides are wrong, everything's a bit wrong. There might be wind coming up the wrong way, which is always bad in the straits. So we're here, look, you probably can't see on this camera, but there's a massive swell rolling in. But it shouldn't rock us too much. It's just a bit up and down. Let's put the anchor down here and see what it's like.
That's it.
Yeah, okay, it's cool.
Yeah.
So a rolly night ahead, but a safe enough anchorage and a good place to stage a passage for tomorrow with our Saturday lull in the wind. The morning forecast is encouraging, with a couple of predictions even giving some light westerlies for a time. Common wisdom for the Straits is to look for a forecast with as little wind as possible, as the reality is there's always more wind than forecast, sometimes substantially. So the prediction looks good, and that's how it proved. We had a pretty benign area of water north of the shipping lanes. Tarifa, famously the wind capital of Europe, was calm. Our only hazards were the small pleasure boats out fishing.
And there it is in the mist. Quite often it's in the mist. That's the Gibraltar Rock. We are on our way. We're actually going at about 5 knots, but most of that is the tide taking us because the wind's in completely the wrong direction. We're going to have to tack, I think, in order to get round. But it is, other than that, a lovely day, and I'm looking forward to going back. The last time we came this way was in 2019, our first time coming into Gibraltar. So, yeah, quite nostalgic.
The tacking meant we saw some coastal areas on the other side of the bay from Gibraltar. They looked more like something out of the Scottish Highlands in the grey. But we were glad of the wind and the occasional bit of blue sky.
Right.
Yeah, we'll have to bear away a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, it's pinching up.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
I think passages like this being relatively uneventful is a good thing.
No fish, bit of a shame. And no dolphins either. And this is the anchorage. Hardly any boats. All the times we've been into Gibraltar before, this has been full of ships. Absolutely stock full of them. And there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there now. Strange.
Hardly any anchored ships, but don't drop your guard. IAS shows movement from all directions.
There might not be many ships anchored in here, but you've still got to dodge the ones that are moving. These fast ferries are a bit of a bugger.
Where's it going?
Mahon, that one, it's going to Mahon.
Ah.
35 knots he's doing. We've got the wake off the back of it.
So a bit of dodgers across the bay and the odd katabatic blast off the rock, but a smooth passage comes to an end with a familiar run up the side of the runway to one of our favourite marinas, Ocean Village, with some friendly staff to take the lines. Makes such a difference when marinas make things easy.
Yes, I'm not sure what the biggest shock was really, whether it's the swell or the empty anchorage. We've always seen loads and loads of big ships out there, and they're just not there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a change, but I mean, we've been here 3 times before. This is the first time that we've been here in the winter, really. It's February coming through, so maybe it's to be expected. But yeah, all those lovely anchorages in Spain, which are normally pretty good, were pretty untenable, so it makes it much more difficult. Having the Levanta wind blasting through, very lucky to get our little opportunity to come through.
Very
on
narrow
one
window.
day in about a
one
month.
day.
That we haven't got 30 knots against us, because it's against the tide. That's the thing. You're coming in this way, tide is with you. It's lovely. It's always an easterly going tide, but that means the westerly Levanta wind really rocks it up. It'd be horrible. So yeah, glad that we got through. Even though we had to motor a lot of it, it was much better than
it
blasting
definitely was.
through.
And now we are here, and I think Ocean Village is possibly my favourite marina in the whole world.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean it's a
'cause it's got a
competitor,
bath.
isn't it? Yeah, it has.
It's one of the only 2 that's got a bath. But no, it's a lovely marina, very welcome in here. We've got a lovely dock. It's got proper docks. It's not like a med one where you med more.
Yeah.
There's proper docks, and yeah, it's
Cheap fuel.
yeah, everything. So
Curry.
yeah, the fuel dock is just behind us.
Curry.
Obviously the rock, the curry house. we already had an English breakfast in one of the pubs down there. So yeah, look, it's nice. It's got a lot of good things about it, and we're going to be staying here for a couple of weeks and explore again, because there's so much to see.
Yeah, there is.
Great.
And then there is a little bit of work to do, as always. I mean, Faro's in pretty good shape now. I think we're quite happy, but we have not done the varnishing.
No, we haven't. Weather's not been conducive, but yeah, there's always other bits and pieces on the list, and there's some good technical videos coming out. Do remember to look. It's on the Patreon site now. The one about props of change over to the prop. That was very useful here, because we had to motor sail quite a bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, it sort of showed that it's very good for that. So
definitely.
very pleased. Yeah.
And then we will be heading back into the Med. And one of the reasons we're doing that is that when we were there previously, it was largely lockdown and then the aftermath of lockdown, wasn't it? So we didn't really see the best of it.
Yeah, people to visit.
People couldn't come out and see it. So I think it will be interesting to see some places again, but also go to new places. We're going up to Corsica and France, which we never did.
Yeah, because Emily and the boys just came out just for a few days there, 4 days, which, you know, when you're fitting it in with school and work is usually the way for, you know, people that still have to work. So it's nice, you know, it's possible, obviously, in the Med for people to come out for a long weekend and do those sorts of things and half terms and whatever for, you know, for Emily and the kids at least, and for the others, we hope to just have family out more often and do a bit of sailing. It's great.
That would be nice. Now that the boys are sailing, they are sailors. It's official. They loved being on the boat at anchor.
Yeah.
Amazing, because it was a bit rougher. That first night, I woke up in the morning and thought, wonder how that's gone.
Well, they both fell out of bed, so
they did.
We did put the lee cloths up in the end.
Yeah.
At anchor.
Anyway, thank you very much to our patrons. Thank you to our subscribers, and thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.